If you've been thinking about your calling and wondering what you were brought here to do, then stay tuned in. I'm going to be showing you the 7-step path to not only finding your life's purpose, but also how to design and live inside of your destiny.
Welcome to the Purpose Project, the podcast that elevates your journey to self-discovery and success. Each week, we dive into the transformative power of purpose across 3 key pillars: performance and achievement, career transitions, and personal transformation. The Purpose Project is not just a podcast, it's your weekly dose of inspiration and guidance. Join us every week as we unravel the secrets of purpose-driven living and follow the show as we embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation so you can live your life on purpose, not default. Here's your host, author, speaker, purpose coach, and consultant, Jaye Purpose.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Purpose Project. I'm Jaye Purpose, and I help those who feel like they are called to a greater purpose find their life's purpose and design the path to their destiny. I am an author and a purpose researcher who has spent the last 4 years knee deep in academic case studies and creating frameworks, just like my 6D method, to make the path to purpose as simple and as easy as possible. Now, my mission is to make purpose possible for the masses. Now, you are in the exact right spot. Like, this specific podcast episode is for you if you want to get started on the work that you need to do to figure out what your purpose is, but you have absolutely no clue where to begin. Like, as far as tactically, what do I do? What does that journey look like? If you've always wanted to find your calling, but you feel like you've been kind of, chasing your tail for years with little to no progress. If you just wish, like if you could wave a magic wand and find out exactly what you were supposed to do with your life, so you can finally stop feeling like your life hasn't gone the way that you've planned it, or if you're ready to finally know exactly what you need to do to get to your purpose, to find your purpose, and to live in your purpose, then make sure you keep on listening to this episode. It is specifically tailored for you. Today, I'm going to be giving you the exact 7 steps that will not only take you to your purpose, but also to your destiny, to your legacy, to your calling. Now, once you have these 7 steps, you'll be able to see where you have been getting it wrong for so long. You can finally stop feeling so frustrated and confused about what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life. You can finally know what needs to happen next for your life. You'll be able to know what needs to be done next so you can reveal your purpose and find your life's work. So I actually created these specific 7 steps after being on a podcast not too long ago. What actually happened was, within my business, I wanted to gain a little bit more exposure for how I was finding people and how people could find me still. So I decided to go on kind of a little bit of a podcast tour. It was actually pretty short-lived, but that was the original intent. I wanted to go on a couple of podcasts so I can just build some exposure for the business. So I did get on a couple of podcasts and everything was going pretty good. But I was on this one specific show, which I won't say his name, but I was on the show and he asked me a question that really sparked something inside of me. And what he asked me was, he said, what is the first thing that somebody has to do if they wanted to get started on their journey finding why they were brought here, figuring out what their calling is, and really understanding their destiny, which is what a lot of people want, right? Like, we want to know, we want to be in alignment with why we were brought here. So it would naturally be one of the questions that he would ask. But I answered it the first time, at least I thought I did. And then about 10 minutes later, he asked me the exact same question. He just asked it in a different way. And so I answered it again. At least I thought I did. And then about 10 minutes later in the podcast, he asked me again the same question, but he just asked it in a different type of way. Like, he just kind of masked the question differently. So I answered it again. And we went on with the interview. But after it was over with, I could not stop thinking about that question that he asked me. If somebody wanted to get started on their journey today, right now, what's the first thing they need to do? And, I went over the answers that I gave him, and I just kept asking myself, why would he continue to ask me that question over again, especially when in my mind I gave him a sufficient answer? So I thought, well, the answers that I was giving him must not have been good enough or clear enough or simple enough for everybody to understand. And it was that specific question that helped me build out these 7 steps around the framework that I already had. I just hadn't had that journey as simplified as it could be. It wasn't dispelled down into a 7-step process, like step 1 this, step 2 this, step 3 this. So I definitely thank that guy for asking me the question and causing me to stretch and expand the way that I thought in my mind. And so thank you to him. But that's how the 7 steps were born, right? I just thought to myself, what would be the perfect answer to that question? And then over a couple of weeks or so, I was able to build out the 7 steps. Now, whenever anybody asks me that question again in the future, I'm going to hit them with these 7 steps. When I start my programs with my clients and my new cohorts, guiding them along their journey to figuring out what their purpose is, I'm going to go through these 7 steps. Like, if you and I were to work one-on-one today, we would begin with these 7 steps. These are the exact 7 steps. That way, people don't have to ask me, over and over again for clarity. So, what is it that I should be doing again? So these are the 7 steps. Let's go ahead and get into the exact 7 steps that you will have to encounter in order to be able to live a purposeful life. All right, so let's jump right into the 7 steps. If this is your first time listening to one of my podcasts, I always say, make sure you take notes as I'm giving you the meat of the message, because note takers are change makers. And if you want to make a change, if you want to make a difference in your life and everybody else's life around you, you have to be willing to take notes, right? The Bible says, write the vision down and make it plain. When you take notes, it makes things plain and simple in your mind. All right. So make sure you take notes while I'm giving you the 7 steps. Now, the first step, I call it the awakening. Right. Step number 1 is to wake up. Wake up to the fact that you are here for a greater reason, that you have a greater purpose. And not only that, but wake up to exactly what it is that your purpose does for your life. What it means to be able to live in your purpose day in and day out. Having that knowledge and awareness will make the journey of discovering what your purpose is that much more special and that much more important. And it'll be the fuel that motivates you to continue along the journey, because you know how significant it is to not only know your purpose, but also to be able to live in why you were here every single day. So step number one is you have to wake up. All right. Step number two, make sure you're writing these down. Step number two is the search. What happens is after you awaken to the fact that you were brought here for a bigger reason, that you were brought here with a calling, that you have a specific purpose and destiny for being here, naturally the next step is, okay, what do I do next? What are my next steps? And you kind of begin that search. You start your journey of, where do I look? Who do I ask? How do I get there? What do I need to be doing? How do I get to that sense of clarity that I need to be able to have confidence in my purpose and walk in that purpose every single day? So that's step number two. Let's recap. Step number one is the awakening. Step number two is the search. Step number three is called the reflection. Step number three is called the reflection. Here's what that means. Here's what I discovered. When you're searching, you're going to look everywhere. You're going to feel a little lost. You're going to feel a little confused. You're going to be looking for that clarity and direction around what needs to be done on the day-to-day so I can get there as fast as possible. And in step three, once you finally realize that, which if you have me and you're listening to me, you should realize this a lot sooner than later. But once you realize that you can't search for your purpose anywhere outside of yourself, you have to look within to be able to pull out your purpose, you'll start to look at and develop and spend most of your time in reflection, reflecting on things that have happened in the past, reflecting on your true desires and the things that you really want out of your life, but have been suffocated by expectations, by cultural norms, and what we deem to be acceptable within our society. But it's just been masked and covered up throughout our day-to-day routine. And we don't realize these things have been within us. But you have to spend a period of time in deep reflection in order to really uncover these things and use them towards your purpose. So step number three is the reflection. You have to spend time reflecting, which most people don't do, because in today's culture and society, we spend so much time chasing our tails, or we're spending so much time escaping from the present reality that we don't want to be in. So much so that whenever we get an ounce of free time, what we want to do is we want to basically distract ourselves from the realization that we may not be living the life that we want to live, that we should be living, that we need to be living. So that reflection piece is huge. So step one, you got to wake up. Step two, you'll begin your search. In step three, you'll start spending a lot of time in reflection. Now in step four, eventually, after you spent enough time in reflection and you've really uncovered who it is that you are, and you spent some time with you, not the you that society has molded, but the real you. Step four is the discovery. This is where you absolutely will discover why you were here. You'll be able to unveil what I call the 7 elements of your destiny, which number one, of course, is your purpose, but you'll also be able to find out your calling. You'll be able to figure out what are your gifts. You'll be able to find your unique value that you can bring to the world and to others. You'll be able to find your passion. You'll be able to find what it is that you're great at, and what it is that you really want to bring to the world. What is the change that you want to make in the world? What is the change that you want to see happen? Because you know once this value is brought to the world, to your society, to the culture, the world will be 10 times better, 10 times better off when you leave this earth because of you and what you've done, and more importantly, the person that you've become. That is the discovery phase. But you won't get there until you spend the time in reflection. You won't spend the time in reflection until you actually begin the search. And of course, you won't begin the search until you awaken to the fact that you were brought here for a bigger reason. And it is possible for you to figure that out. So step number 5. Step number 5 is called the questioning. What's going to happen is after you figure out your purpose, you're going to begin to ask yourself, okay, so I figured this thing out, but is this really divine? Is this really mine? Is it really meant for me? How do I know that this wasn't brought to my conscious because of outside influences? You'll begin to have these questions about what it is that you've revealed around your purpose. And it's an important stage because it's important that we challenge what we believe to be our purpose. Because the last thing you want to do is go your entire life believing that you're living your purpose only to find out towards the end that you were really living a lie. You want to be able to uncover that truth at the very beginning instead of at the end. Because what a waste your entire life would be pursuing vanity and giving your energy and attention to something that's not really meant for you. But because of the culture and society that we live in, it's been implanted into your mind. So the questioning is very, very important, and it's very significant. And a lot of people naturally go through this after they figure out something of this gratitude, of this gravity. Right? Just think about somebody before they get married. They made the decision that this is the person I want to be with. But as soon as they make that decision and the reality settles in, then the questions come. As soon as we may decide that we want to leave a job and start a new career in an entirely different industry, but the moment you make that decision, you start to question. It's natural. Like, we all do it, and it's okay to do it. And I believe in this process, it is a necessary step. So step number 6, once you have the confidence that comes from questioning and challenging what you've revealed to be your true and divine purpose, now it's time to design your life's plan. And how do I say this? It's very significant, extremely significant, that you only do this after you've discovered your purpose. A lot of people will develop life plans and vision boards, and they'll go through the process of figuring out what they want, but they don't know why they were brought here. That's a huge mistake. You only want to do this after you know what your purpose is. And number 2, you are extremely confident. You are extremely confident in what you've revealed to be your purpose. And then you use your purpose as a foundation to design the life that you were meant to live. That's step 6, design. Let's do a recap really quick before we get to number 7. Step number 1 is the awakening. You have to wake up. Step number 2 is the search. Once you wake up, you'll begin the search. Step number 3 is reflection. Once you begin your search, you will eventually spend time in reflection. Step number 4 is the discovery. It's when you'll discover the essence of who you are. You'll discover your purpose, your dharma, your ikigai. Step number 5 is the questioning. That's when you question and you challenge what it is that you have revealed to be your true purpose. Step number 6 is the design. It's when you use your purpose as a foundation to design the life that you were meant and destined to live. All right, now step number 7. Step number 7 is called the transformation. And the reason I call it the transformation is because, okay, now you've discovered why you were here. Huge. We all want to know that. But now it's like, what's next? So then you designed your life around your purpose. You designed, in a way, the path to your destiny. You have it all planned out. You're good to go. Now what? What you'll realize is that there is a transformation that has to take place within you in order for you to be able to get to the destination that is your destiny, in order to be able to unveil that vision that you've created in the design phase. You have to transform into a different person. And that's the final step. Once you transform into a different person, now you can step into and walk in your true purpose every single day of your life, because you have became the person that you were destined to become. So those are the 7 steps: the awakening, the search, the reflection, the discovery, the questioning, the design, and lastly, the transformation. Okay, so you have the 7 steps, but now what? And this is where the power of having a journey laid out and mapped out like this lies. And it is, you can know exactly what needs to happen next. We all want and desire to have clarity like that, where we know exactly what needs to happen next so we can get to our desired destination. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you one thing that you can do in each of these 7 steps to move you along this journey, this 7-step journey. So we'll start at step 1. If you can see yourself in step 1 right now, here's what you need to do. You need to bring something into your 5 gates. By 5 gates, I mean your 5 senses. You need to bring something into your gates that can shift your perspective and take you out of a state of slumber or the routine that you've been in for the past however long, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years or months. And one thing that you can do is, I did write a book. You can get that book. It's called How to Live Longer, Healthier, and Wealthier: The Complete Guide to Discovering Your Purpose and Unlocking Unlimited Potential. That book will give you everything that you need to get out of a state of slumber and drift and wandering and distraction. All right, so that's step 1. You need to bring something into your 5 gates that can shift your perspective and wake you up. If you want something that's specific, you can read my book, How to Live Longer, Healthier, and Wealthier. It'll give you all the awareness that you need to get out of that state. All right, step 2. If you're in the search, which I'm guessing if you're listening to this, most people will be here. You'll be in that phase or that step where you're looking for your purpose, but you don't know exactly where to look or how to go about it. The one thing that you can do today is you can create a personal roadmap to your purpose. Now, I gave you the 7 steps. All you have to do is map out specifically what you're going to do with dates and deadlines that can act as almost like propellants, pushing you along each step in state. So step 2, if you're searching for your purpose, but you don't really know where to look, you don't really know what to do, you need to create a personal roadmap that will tell you exactly what you need to do in these 7 steps. I have something for that as well. If you go down into the show notes, that'll be linked there. All right, step 3, the reflection, something that you can do today. You need to establish a strong routine and cadence of self-reflection. where you spend time alone, free from distractions and other people, so you can start going through the process of reflecting on everything that's happened in the past that's led up to who you are today. Establish a strong routine of self-reflection. All right, step 4, the discovery. What you can do today is you can sit down with a pen and paper and find out what similarities exist between these 3 things. I call them the 3 P's: your passion, your pain, and your production. That's one thing that you can do today. List out your passions, list out your pains, list out your productions. Figure out what similarities exist between those 3. That's something that you can do today if you're on this step. Step 5, if you're in the questioning phase, what you can do today is challenge what you believe to be your purpose. So take the necessary steps to sit down and reflect and ask yourself the questions, the tough questions. Do I really believe this is what God has brought me here to do and who he has brought me here to become? Step 6, the design. What you can do today is you can start creating your life's plan, specifically around your purpose. You can start doing that today if you're on this step. Just take out a piece of paper, take out something to write with. Don't make it complicated, keep it simple, and start to write that plan today. Step 7, if you're in the transform step, one thing that you can do, and what I like to do with my clients, is you can sit down and you can start creating what I call You 2.0. Got it from Price Pritchard. Now the concept is this new you that you have to become to be able to step into your destiny. What are the character traits of him or her? What does he or she do on a day-to-day basis that's keeping them in a state of purpose? You can write that out today. All right, so those are the 7 steps, and one thing that you can do in every step to get started today. All right, so one thing I do every single time I hop onto this podcast is that I like to dish out a challenge to everybody who's listening, just to get you into action, to give you some positive momentum in the right direction. So for this specific week, I want you to take a look at these 7 steps. Take a look at this pathway, at this roadmap, at this journey, and you need to figure out where you are right now in these 7 steps. Do you see yourself more so in step 3, the reflection? Maybe you see yourself more so in step 2, the search. You're looking, you're searching, but you don't really know what needs to come next. You don't really know what you need to be doing. Who should you be talking to? How do you go about finding your purpose? Maybe you're in step 2. Wherever you are, you need to find out. Sit down with yourself and recollect on each of the 7 steps and just ask yourself, do I think I'm more so in step 1? Maybe I'm more so in step 5. And coming to that recognition is huge, because that's what will allow you to be able to go through the entire process as fast as possible. Once you figure out where you are, then you can know what needs to happen next, so you can get started, and more importantly, so you can execute and get to the desired outcome. Now, in closing, don't forget the 7 steps. I hope you took notes. Remember, note takers are change makers, and we want to be able to make that transformation in our personal lives. So remember, step 1 was the awakening. Wake up to the fact that you are here for a specific reason. Step 2 was the search. Once you wake up, you'll begin the search to find out why you were here. Step 3 is the reflection. Who are you? And reflect upon what it is that you were brought here to do. That will be the key to your success. Step 4 was the discovery. When you find out why you were brought here. Step 5, the questioning, when you challenge your purpose, so that you can gain confidence and what you've revealed. Step number 6 was the design, where you actually design and create the path to your purpose around your purpose. So you'll create the path to your destiny, but using your purpose as the foundation. And then step 7, the transformation, where you become the person that lives and walks in your purpose every single day. If you want to go deeper within this entire 7-step process, so you can finally cut the procrastination and start living your life on purpose, be sure to go and check out the link in the show notes. It's www.thepurposepad.com/LTO. I'm giving away an insane bundle right now. You want to go and check it out. If you don't, that is completely fine. Either way, thank you for tuning in. And remember, my name is Jay. Make sure you live on purpose and not default. Cheers to a purposeful life, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to The Purpose Project. We hope this episode provided value for you and moved you one step closer to a purpose-driven life. Be sure to check out the show notes for any important links and resources for your pursuit toward a life full of meaning. One thing that would help the show tremendously is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, letting Jay and everyone else know what you think of the show, so we can better serve you. And if there's anybody that you know who could benefit from this podcast, make sure to give them a nudge in our direction. As always, live on purpose, not default. We'll see you next time.